like this?
Yeah.
Where you from?
Are you a Filipino?
I'm on this very special vehicle, and after 2 years of planning, I'm finally in the Philippines. And in this video, I'm gonna cover my first impression of the capital city of Manila. It's 7 p.m. and I'm in Manila. I've been traveling the last 19 or 20 hours with very little sleep in the middle on a bench in Bangkok airport. Immigration was a breeze. The person checking my passport and visa was just so nice and so friendly. I'm here waiting for my luggage now for like the last 30 minutes. One thing I really like about this is that there's this TV over there where you can see the people that are unloading the luggage. See my bag? It's weird. There's this extra tag on my bag that says it was like security checked at the Bangkok airport. I have no clue why. I'm sweaty and smelly, but I have my stuff. And I'm gonna try to go get like a Grab, which is basically like the Uber here in Philippines. And I can go get that straight because I got like an eSIM before I came here, which seems to be working. I'll leave links to that in the description. This is not a sponsored video, but I do find them really helpful, especially when I'm like arriving in a country. Can I get $100 exchanged? Thank you. I just got like $100 exchanged for like 5,390, and it's like big bills, and they gave me like these huge, interesting looking coins. Now I'm gonna try to find a Grab and pay with cash. And it seems like this airport is pretty easy to navigate. You know, it's like a bit crowded because this is one of the most crowded cities on the planet, but it's still very organized. Maybe that's my car. Hi. Thank you. Nadir? Nadir, yes. Good afternoon, people. It's like, that is interesting. Good afternoon, people. It's 12:30 and I'm in Malate, which is inside Metro Manila, which is actually like 16 cities, by the way. I got to my hostel last night around like 8:30 and it was pretty dark, so I didn't really film much. Just went to bed and slept for 12 hours. So today I'm heading out and I'm gonna try to explore the city. And my hostel is like a really cool one, like a really chill budget backpacker hostel vibe. Got like a private small room so I could spread out my electronics and my drones and my charging stuff, you know, without having to worry about taking up too much space. But yeah, it gets hot. I woke up this morning because it's so hot. It's like 32 degrees Celsius, 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and a fan's not enough to keep you cool. So I see the grocery store in front of me where I got like my water and snacks yesterday night. And right next to me is this place called KTV Room, Karaoke TV. Apparently it's a very popular thing here to come and just like sing karaoke for a good time. The guy at my hostel, what up brother? People are so friendly. A very common thing here is just come to these bars that are KTV bars. And apparently you go and sing karaoke and then like you pick, this sounds weird, you pick one of the staff who's like a lady who comes and just cheers you on as you sing karaoke and say that you're really good at singing. I haven't experienced this personally, but the guy at the hostel was telling me that. So that's really interesting. And when I was walking around the area, a couple of guys, very friendly, who like work at these places were coming and telling me like, yo, come in, 500 pesos, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Come join the KTV bar experience. Hello, kiddo. Hi. This kid is fascinated by my camera. So I don't exactly know what this is called, but I gotta try this out at some point. What's this?
Siomai.
Siomai? Is this chicken?
Yeah.
Chicken? It's a hot dog? Is that? This is from Manila.
Philippines, Manila. I live in Makati.
Makati. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna eat this and he said I should get some sauce.
Sweet and hot.
Sweet and hot? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Salamat.
Salamat din.
Speaking Tagalog.
I'm trying to learn, yeah. Thank you very much, salamat. Like, I'm trying to try out the chicken hot dog with the sauce. I don't know. This is so much sauce. Interesting. It is sweet and spicy. Definitely sweet. From what I hear, people eat a lot of fast food in the Philippines. The day is definitely starting off in that direction. That was some very interesting food. This is definitely a city of very sharp contrasts. On one side, you got like these big high-rise buildings right next to where I was staying, but you go like one block inside and there's like these almost very local places where there's clearly people that are not very well off, and there's like these horse-drawn carriages that seem to only exist in this part of the city from what I understand. Definitely not a popular mode of transportation, but tourists like it. Someone else is vlogging behind me right there. It is so sunny right now. So I'm in the beach called Manila Baywalk Dolomite Beach, I think it's called. And it's like a pretty nice beach area. The water doesn't seem like the cleanest place ever, so I guess no one really goes for a swim here, but there's definitely a lot of swimmable beaches in the Philippines, don't worry about that. Just not over here. So the Philippines is actually a country of more than 7,500 islands that are like dispersed throughout this archipelago. We're on Luzon right now, which is the biggest island of them all, with a population of like 60 million, and I think it's more than like 50% of the whole population of the Philippines. This is actually one of the most populous islands in the whole world. I think it's 4th after Java, Honshu from Japan, and Great Britain. So a lot of people on this island right here. You can definitely tell this is a port area because you see a lot of cargo ships and stuff docked not too far from this beach right here. So I'm entering this shady little park area called Rizal Park with lots of nice little food stalls near the entrance. This is a really fancy park actually, and there's some party music coming from right there. I don't know why. It's funny because there's a place in LA where I used to live that looks just like this, and people used to take a lot of pictures over here too. So people have lived in the Philippines for tens of thousands of years, and different waves of people have come from different parts of Asia and settled on these islands. The earliest settlers were Negritos, and after that waves and waves of Austronesians came in who make up a majority of the population of the people living here today. And if you want to find out more about the history of the people of the Philippines in the long run, you can check out the National Museum of Anthropology, which is right behind me right there in Rizal Park. Something really interesting is that the lowest administrative level in the Philippines today is still called barangays, which probably originates from the word balangay, which are these boats that the ancient settlers used to come to these different islands in the Philippines. Something that you'll notice right off the bat when you come to the Philippines is that people like to smile a lot. Even when the security of the museum was telling me that I can't film there, he was like super smiley about it, and he appreciated that I was smiling back at him too. So that is really nice. So right behind me you're gonna see these very ancient walls, and with these walls start the story of modern day Philippines. So in 1521, this Portuguese explorer who was under the directions of the Spanish crown was trying to circumnavigate the earth for the first time. He was trying to be one of the first people to go around the whole globe. And he arrived on the eastern islands of the Philippines. And when he arrived, he sort of claimed the islands for Spain, which in turn started the Spanish colonization of the area. By the way, Magellan never made it back to Spain. He died in the Philippines in this dumb battle, but some of his crewmates actually managed to go around the earth and go back to Spain eventually. It took a long time. Something really interesting that a lot of people don't know is along with Magellan, on his crew was the slave that he had bought from Malacca in Malaysia today, like 10 years before that. And when that guy arrived to the Philippines, he spoke the local language, so no one really knows where exactly he was from, but it is a theory that he might have actually been from the Philippines. So this guy, Enrique, might have been the first ever person to go around the whole globe. It was the year 1543, and the Spanish explorer named all these islands Las Islas Filipinas in honor of King Felipe II of Spain. And that's where the name of the islands Philippines actually comes from. So in 1565, Spain officially started colonizing the place from New Spain, which was Mexico at the time. And in 1571, the Spanish conquistador named Legazpi came here and claimed the city of Manila as the capital of the Spanish colony in a sense, and he took advantage of the territorial divide between the different like Hindu and Muslim factions that were ruling the area, and he used that to set up base here and formed the city council of Manila inside the walls of what I'm standing right now. And he called this Intramuros, which literally means within the walls. And that is the name of the oldest district of Manila, which I'm standing in right now, which is within these ancient big walls. So before the Spanish came along, there was no country called the Philippines with the islands that we see today. However, there were a lot of different island nations or kingdoms, and there were settlements in a lot of the places where where you have big cities today, and they were just settlements that were trading with regional powers like China at the time, and were big trade hubs even long before the Spanish arrived. Unfortunately, a lot of Intramuros was destroyed during the World War II bombings during the war, but thankfully a lot of it has been restored and a lot of it managed to survive. And by the way, Manila back in the day, everything was inside these walls. There was nothing outside it. Now it's a very different story. It's pretty cool that you can like walk around inside these walls and get an idea of what life used to be like, you know, way back in the day. Some kids are dancing behind me. So the Spanish only left the Philippines like 100 years ago, a little bit more than that. So you see very heavy influences of Spanish colonialism, not just in Intramuros, but like literally everywhere around the country. All the places, all the streets, a lot of cities have Spanish names. Hell, the guy who like sort of settled Manila, Legazpi, has his own city named after him, which I'm probably going to in a couple of days. But it's not just the name of the places. Interestingly, it's also in the names of the peoples. So a lot of people, like almost everyone I've met here, has like Hispanic names. Right in the middle of Intramuros, there's a Starbucks. There's a lot of American chains here. More on that later.
And all the clergy, whom you have brought to their wedding.
So along with colonialism, the Spanish also brought Catholicism into the Philippines. And it's still an 80% Catholic country to this day. And behind me is the Church of San Agustin, which is the oldest stone church in the whole country, which was built in the year 1607 and is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And there's some religious ceremony going on behind me right now. I'm going to go inside and see if I can check it out firsthand. So some people are actually getting married back there, and I think I almost like walked into that. Thankfully I didn't go too far before I noticed what was going on. So not too far from that church we just came from, inside Intramuros is also the Manila Cathedral, which is this huge cathedral.
The object of our eyes.
This place is bigger than it even looks like from the outside. I mean, look at this. So they had me take off my hat when I was walking in. At first I thought it was for security. Then I realized that it's disrespectful in a church to be wearing a hat, so don't do that if you go to a cathedral or a church. See the Intramuros fire station right here in the middle of it. Important structure. So I just entered Fort Santiago, which is still inside Intramuros. And when I was walking in, the lady asking for tickets was talking to me in Filipino, because I think I look a little Filipino, which is probably why I have like a lot of viewers if you're watching from the Philippines. My second biggest base is the Philippines after Bangladesh. So thanks to all 80,000 of you who watch my videos from the Philippines on Facebook. I'll try to do justice to your country. For now, I'll try to do justice to your city. Got some kids dancing professionally down here too. So at the edge of Fort Santiago, you'll see the Pasig River, which is sort of this old river that flows through the heart of Manila. This goes all the way into Manila Bay. And once the Spanish came and sort of established Manila as the capital of their new Spanish East Indies colony, which included the Philippines, Guam, and a couple of other islands, this sort of became the western hub of the trans-Pacific trade. For the first time, there was trade being done across the Pacific, from the Spanish Americas all the way to Eastern Asia. And this became one of the world's first global cities. You know, once Manila was set up as this trade hub, for the first time ever across the world there was this uninterrupted network of trade routes that went around the whole world, starting from Spain to the Americas, now to Asia, and back to Europe again. Speaking of trade and business, there's a couple of things I need to buy, including shorts with zippable pockets, because I'm having to wear jeans everywhere. And for that, I'm not gonna go here, but to that side of that river, this market called Divisaria. And we got some people playing basketball in sandals right on the street.
Oh, thank you. Very good.
That's Steph Curry.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Where you from?
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Yes.
Subscribe, man.
Thank you, brother. Salamat. Hey. Cheers, bro. People are just so friendly here. So I saw some kids back there. They were playing some games, I thought at first, but then they were like, no, we're gambling. You want to go to Divisaria? 200?
250.
200 is on Grab. Do you have change for 1,000?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Can I sit in the front?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Bangladesh. The man here is super friendly. This area is like good for the street market, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to buy some cheap clothes. I'll buy shorts because it's too hot for jeans right now. And there's like a hole in my jeans. So that whole segment in Divisoria ended up being so much action-packed that I've decided I'm gonna make a different video out of that because it's worth its own video. So right now I am in Quiapo, which is another district not too far from Divisoria. And I'm in another market heading towards this cool spot. I'm not gonna lie, this also looks a lot like Divisoria. Alright, so right now I am in Plaza Miranda, which is probably one of the most recognizable plazas in all of Metro Manila. In front of this church, that if I remember right was also built during the Spanish colonial era. Okay, so let's go back to history for a second. So of course the Spanish came and colonized the place and that lasted more than 300 years. But then in 1896, the first Filipino revolution happened that lasted like 2 years, which ultimately led to the Spanish leaving their colony. But at the same time, there was the Spanish-American War in 1898. So instead of the Philippines getting independence like they were hoping for, there was instead just a transfer of colonial power. So instead of being a Spanish colony, all of a sudden the Philippines was an American colony out of the blue. And of course the people didn't like that, and there was another war that broke out between the Filipinos looking for independence and the Americans, and like hundreds of thousands of people died in that war. And the Americans were here for a while after that. You know, what's interesting is that how much of an influence that period of American rule over the Philippines has over the Philippines now. You can see a lot of American culture when you just walk the streets, from the way people dress, from the kind of music they listen to. And more than 8 in 10 Filipinos today actually have a positive view of the US. Partially it's because of the recent political alignment between the Philippines and the US. The Philippines and the US are on the same side against China on claiming who gets to control how much of the sea that is to the west of the Philippines. But it's a lot more than that. Like, American culture is a big part of Filipino culture as much as Filipino culture is a big part of American culture too.
Chicken adobo? You got chicken?
There's like 4 million people of Filipino descent, like Filipino Americans living in the US. And out of them, 1.6 million of them were in California. And a lot of them were in LA where I used to live. So I knew like tons of Filipino Americans. Something really funny is that like the most common guess I would get in LA from random people when they're trying to figure out like what's my ethnic descent, people would often guess that I am Filipino American because it was so common to find Filipino Americans in California. It's not just Filipinos living in America, it's also Americans living in the Philippines. I think there's more than 300,000 American citizens who reside in the Philippines right now. So the cultures are very connected. Something very interesting that I've noticed is you can find just about every American fast food chain in the Philippines. Like, I've seen a KFC, Pizza Hut, McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, Wendy's. I've never seen a Wendy's outside the US before. There's tons of places that offer great fast food and great fried chicken. But if you're thinking about great fried chicken in the Philippines, the place you're probably gonna think about is Jollibee. So I'm gonna go try out some Jollibee fried chicken now. Interesting little market over here.
Sir, where are you from?
Bangladesh?
Bangladesh.
How are you?
Are you Filipino?
No, I'm Bangladeshi.
Filipino citizen?
No, I'm a Bangladeshi.
Bangladesh.
I'm a tourist. Yeah.
Bangladesh. Vlog.
Bangladesh what? I'm gonna try Jollibee. I think it's good fried chicken, right?
It's good fried chicken.
Thank you for that. Man, there's like all kinds of items involving fried chicken here. I think I'll get a chicken sandwich. Hi. Can I get a chicken sandwich?
Chicken sandwich?
Yes.
For dining?
For dine-in, yeah.
For 7 minutes.
Sorry?
For 7 minutes.
7 minutes? Okay, okay. I can wait.
Welcome to Quiapo.
Thank you.
The best area in Manila.
Salamat. Yeah.
Where are you from?
Bangladesh.
Oh,
Bangladesh?
Yeah,
so far away.
yeah. Yeah. This is my second day in the Philippines. Like, I just got here
Take care
yesterday.
of your things.
Yeah.
This area is so...
Everyone's telling me. I was in Divisoria.
Are you a vlogger?
Yeah.
Oh, hi!
People are so friendly. Can I pay with card or is it cash only?
Sorry, cash basis lang.
Cash, okay. How much is it?
244. Additional, peach mango pie, chocolate pie.
Now I'm not that hungry right now, so I think this will be enough. I don't think I have to say anything else about how friendly people in the Philippines are. I think you just saw that for yourself. This kid is fascinated by my camera. They tried to touch it earlier, but his mom like removed it. Okay, time for the moment of the truth. So here we have Jollibee crispy chicken sandwich and some fries. How's the fries? Hot. So nice. This is amazing. Ooh, hot. Still really hot. That was a very, very filling meal. So let's go back and talk about the history a little bit. Americans were basically here till World War II, and then during World War II, the Japanese invaded and occupied this place for like a couple of years. And during that time, this place saw a lot of bloodshed. There was something called the Manila Massacre between February and March 1945, where hundreds of thousands of people were killed during the war, and countless people were raped by the Japanese invading army. And this city really took a hit. All of Intramuros that we saw earlier was destroyed. Manila was one of the most destroyed cities in the whole world, and it was pretty tragic.
The sound of bombs, the people got used to it.
But finally, in 1946, the Philippines became an independent country for the first time after more than 300 years and being ruled by 3 colonial empires in a sense. They were free to be their own people. So right in Quiapo is also this small area that is Muslim majority, and I think it's called like Muslim Town or something. And when you're entering the gates of this area, you sort of see a Ramadan Mubarak sign on top, because the month of Ramadan is starting very soon. So although Catholics are like 80% of the country, there's still like a notable Muslim minority, and they make up about like 5% of the entire population. Most of them live in the south though. So right in the middle of this Muslim area is the Golden Mosque, which is famous for its like huge golden dome, and is the largest mosque in all of Manila Metro, which can hold up to 22,000 people from what I remember. And even when you come into this area, you start to see the differences in people. You see a lot of men in prayer attire, you see a lot of women wearing hijabs and all. There's also this market here where they're selling all kinds of meat and fish. You know, what's fascinating about the Philippines is the culture. And it's such a melting pot of different cultures. Partially because it was colonized by so many different empires from different parts of the world, but also because it's in the middle of all these other places and has always been a trading hub. It's such an interesting mix of culture. First of all, there's like local Filipino customs that have been there for thousands of years. Then there's the Chinese influence of the Chinese immigrants that have come over for hundreds and hundreds of years. So you see Hispanic religiosity and romance and machismo, but you also see the American influence on clothing and pop culture and Western ideals. And you know, interestingly, this whole area, Metro Manila, is one of the wealthiest regions in all of Southeast Asia. So while this is a part of Metro Manila, there are also places that look like this. So in the next video, we're gonna approach Manila from a different part of town and learn more about the city and its different parts.